All right, what's up, everybody? Why is there no sound? Is there no sound? Can you hear me? Oh man, what is up with this microphone? Uh, can you hear me? Is there any sound at all? Is the chat working? I don't know. All right, okay, so you can hear me. So weird, weird. It's not showing up on the screen. So all right, let's jump right into it. Let's see. Race win, of course, goes to Chase Elliott, Brad Keselowski in second place there, William Byron in third, Tyler Rick in fourth, Daniel Suarez in fifth place. So sort of a mixed bag there. Brad Keselowski does officially, I guess, get second place here. That was a little bit of a dispute there on the Fox broadcast. William Byron with a late contact with Ross Chastain. Ross Chastain's going to end up 32nd there. A little bit of controversy there, but I feel like it was mostly a racing incident. Ross had to check up. William Byron didn't judge the closing rate. Which no way to do that without tail lights or anything like that, and we definitely don't need those in the Cup Series. Tyler Reddick finishes fourth. He was strong early, had some issues, but ends up rallying for a fourth place finish. Daniel Suarez with a nice fifth place finish there. Trackhouse was set up for a good day until that last little bit there where Ross lost it and or whatever, however you want to look at it. Chase Briscoe ends up in sixth place. Good run for him. Bubba Wallace is seventh. Austin Dillon with an eighth place finish. Kyle Busch right behind him in ninth place. A double top 10 for the RCR gang. So good recovery from them after a slow start. And at one point in this race, Austin Hill was in second place. So before he lost his power steering, Carson Hocevar recovers. He wrecked early on, if not more than one time, but he ends up in 10th place. This was definitely a strategy race, no doubt about it. Joe Logano ends up in 11th. Ryan Preece with a nice 12th place finish there. Ty Gibbs 13th. Martin Truex Jr. 14th. Ty Gibbs had a good run going early, but just that pit strategy hurt him. Chris Buescher 15th. Ty Dillon 16th. Christopher Bell 17th. Noah Gragson 18th. Eric Jones 19th. Daniel Hendrick 20th, Kyle Larson 21st, Corey LaJoy 22nd, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 23rd, Justin Haley 24th, Austin Cindric 25th, Zane Smith 26th, Kaz Grala, Harrison Burton, Jimmy Johnson, Denny Hamlin, Todd Gilliland, Ross Chastain, Ryan Blaney, John Hunter Nemechek, Michael McDowell, Josh Berry, Alex Bowman, and Austin Hill round out the rest of your finishes there. And let's see if JC has updated the points yet. Have they made the race official? The race is not official yet. So unofficially, those are the results, and we'll have to see what happens as the stream goes on as to whether or not we get the final results here, points wise. Chrome Diesel, what's up, my man? Doing good. There's a spin coming off of 4. It says Timber Race. Race was a complete crap show. So yeah, that was this is basically the poll question. Was it a good race? Chase won, so yes, 56%. Chase won, so no, 12%. Too many cautions at 24%. I don't care. Keep talking because I'm procrastinating. Is at 8%. So there you go. And we have audio, unlike we did on the first live stream, which kind of freaked me out. So good. We've got audio going. Free fried pickles at Hooters says in between the lanes. So there you go. Yeah, so Chase Elliott wins in the Hooters car. That's the first time he's done that. And he did the Polish victory lap to celebrate Alan Kulwicki. And I think that's the most I've ever heard Chase Elliott say in one sitting that wasn't like his documentary or anything like that. So pretty cool. You could tell that was a big win for him to win in the Hooters car. So good for him. A top 10 for Rowdy, says in between the lanes. Like saying what's up to B. Bill Elliott's kid won the race, I heard, says Keith Rissa. Yeah, so sound the old siren in Dawsonville. Hater for Truex Jr. came back for a top 15 finish, though, says in between the lanes. Yeah, he had a pit issue as well. Rowdy did great driving that crap box. That is the other somewhat a little bit of a controversy there. Did Chase Elliott wreck Denny Hamlin, or did Hamlin get loose? To me, I just saw it as Hamlin going for the win. And he wasn't he's already locked into the points. So you might as well go for the win. And I had no problem going for the win. And if you wreck, you wreck, especially as long as you don't take out the leader going for the win. And so Denny Hamlin going for it, I saw no shame in the way he raced there at the end, going for the win. So that's what you want to see from your race car driver. What's up in between the lanes? People hate on Texas a lot, but I'll take this race over short tracks. Both RCR cars in the top 10, says like dislike. Chase won at Texas somehow. I didn't see that coming. Guess Gustafson doesn't suck after all. The call to keep the 9 out long in stage 1 helped the race later. So yeah, that's probably the other thing I wanted to touch on. Where are all the fire Alan Gustafson people now? Haven't heard anything from them. So that's going to be an interesting thing to follow as well, because Alan Gustafson gets more crap than probably any crew chief I've ever seen in my life. The guy has won a championship for your driver. You know, they are the championship winning team with your driver. They had the best season statistically one year, got him to the round of 4, and you know the round of 4, the final 4 is a crapshoot. I just don't understand all the Alan Gustafson hate. Like Chase Elliott didn't make the playoffs last year. That's because Chase Elliott 6 or 7 races. What's Alan Gustafson supposed to do about that? So I don't know. I feel like he's a good crew chief. He gets way too much flack. Due to strategy, Ty Dillon was in top 5 at one point. Yeah, so Ty Dillon actually had a really good run. Elliott won, which is great, but the race was not mid at best for Texas standards. It was a good race. That's probably a fair statement there. For Texas standards, it was a good race. That says a lot right there. So yeah, Texas always gets flamed. So I think the cautions at the end bailed them out. They got a good finish. I think it would have been actually I'll take that back, because I think it would have been a good finish either way if Brad Keselowski's newer tires would have held out there at the end. I think that would have actually been just as interesting. But you got a couple of really good, exciting restarts there. But overall, man, I just feel like the wreck fest it hurts it a little bit. So I don't know. Probably 50-50 on the race. Let's see. Ring the bell in Dawsonville, says Camaro 50. That's right. Sound off the old siren at the pool hall. Josh Berry caution during commercial. Yeah. So Josh Berry had multiple cautions. John Hunter Nemechek had multiple cautions, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. They were having a good old fashioned caution off. Who could bring out the most cautions? Unfortunately, and I think at the end of it, I want to say Ricky Stenhouse might have won that. So I don't know. I love the Alan Kowicki tribute, the Polish lap in the Hooters car. Felt surreal. Yeah, that was pretty crazy. And like I said, that's the most I've ever heard Chase Elliott talk about something after a race. So you could tell that was definitely a huge win for him. If Chase Elliott can keep being this aggressive, he's going to be very dangerous, says Joseph Wooten. Yeah, and that's what I've been telling people. Everybody's like, Chase Elliott, man, well, he needs to do something. I was like, the dude is like, he was like top 8 in points. He's definitely way higher because he just got the win. I was like, what else do you want him to do? I was like, the win will eventually come, and I'm glad it came today so we can stop talking about that. I'll be even more glad when Brad Keselowski and Kyle Busch get their win as well, because those are coming also. The funny part is that I was wearing the Chase Elliott shirt and had chicken wings for lunch today, says Camaro 50. Hey, there you go. They do have really good chicken wings at the Hooters there for sure. BB had add that Elliott Hooter scheme to my list of diecast. I would like. It's a long list. Says in between the lanes. It was a pretty good looking car. I like the orange and white better because it's just it's more Alan Kowicki, and that's always what I'm going to associate that restaurant with. So for sure. All right, now it's all racing at TMS is done for the year. Time to reconfigure. Says Cody. So yeah, time to reconfigure the track. Let's see what they come up with. Let's see what they're cooking there. What was the louder crowd reaction? The Denny spin or Elliott winning? All a tough call. Probably the same fans cheering for both, I would imagine. Any schemes you like today, BB? I did like the Bubba Wallace scheme was good. I did this earlier, and I can't remember which ones I liked. The Hooters car was good looking. Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I did it earlier. So on the first one, it's in there somewhere. I went over all of them. I missed the whole show start. My wife keeps yammering on about her dumb vampire show, says Keith Risk. I don't know which vampire show that is, but yeah, I don't know. I thought that trend had moved on along with the pirate trend. So it was like dudes were really into pirates and women were really into vampires for a certain mid 2000s or maybe 2010s. For a brief moment in the mid 2000s and 2010s, everybody was either a pirate or a vampire, it felt like. Todd Gilliland went to Long John Silver's afterwards. Yeah, Long John Silver's always a good looking scheme. Howdy from the Great White North. I think the fix was in for Chase to win. Conspiracy. Just kidding. Bummer of a day for Ross and Kyle Larson. Yeah, Kyle Larson had the tire that came off, and that his day just went to crap after that. They did get back on the lead lap, only to get they were 4 wide or something. I can't remember who hit him. Maybe Zane Smith. But yeah, just 4 wide and racing. and he got spun there at the end, which cost him another good finish. Where did he even? I know a rabid fan base, and I like the passion. I'm not down. I'm not like talking bad about him at all. But it's a hard job to be crew chief, and it's kind of like in baseball. It's harder to be a Yankee than anybody else, because the Yankees expect to win a title every year, or at least for a long time they did. Clyde, the slide Elliott says, Chronic, Ty Dillon had my favorite scheme. What was Ty's scheme? Like sort of the orange and blue. That was a pretty good looking car for sure. BB, are you excited for Talladega next week? Talladega is going to be a blast. I think it's going to be really awesome. Xfinity race was the best of the weekend. Yeah, I mean, that's an impossible finish to beat. Like that's as good as it gets for sure. I was not expecting to compete with that, but they did get a good finish to this one. But like I said, all the wrecks in between, I think, sort of soured the event for a lot of people. But they did get an exciting finish. There's no taking that away. Chase doing the Polish victory lap in the car. He wanted to do that for a long time, says Duke Chronic. Yeah, and like I said, you could tell it meant a lot to him, because he went. That was probably a longer speech than he's really ever given in victory lane that I can recall. I could be wrong about that, but I think that's the longest he's ever spoken victory lane. So he's starting to come out of his shell just a little bit, and a cool way to do it, talking about how much that meant to him, honoring Alan Kawicki, doing it for the Hooters company that he loves having on his car, and just everything worked out for him. It's a really cool deal. And he even brought up that Alan beat his dad, so he even threw that in there, so showing how much respect he had for Alan Kawicki. So that was a really cool deal. I felt like this race was entertaining for all the wrong reasons. There you go. It's kind of like Trainwreck. It's entertaining, but you wish you weren't watching it. Not for racing, but for weird strategy, wrecks, and pit road. There was a lot of weird strategy. I'll give you that. The other thing is the tires were so hard, people were working backwards to have older tires at the end of the race at one point. So it was a unique strategy race for sure. I do agree with that 100%. BB won on Earth 2. Who won on Earth 2 today? Oh, that's a good question. I think it was Austin Hill. Yeah, because he went out with the steering box. It was going to be Alex Bowman, but Austin Hill went out at the same time, and they credited Alex Bowman with finishing in front of Austin Hill. So flip a coin there. It looks like Austin Hill, by a nose, takes it on Earth 2, finishing last place on Earth 1. Not again, says PC Gone Rogue. I still feel bad for Sieg. Chevy sweep at Texas. Says Napa Race Fan. Haven't seen any post-race from Chastain about the Willie B contact. Looked like a racing deal, but I'm curious as to what Ross thought, said X-Dude. Yeah, so Ross declined comment, and I think that's smart. If you don't have, he probably didn't have the information in front of him. And if you don't, it's one of those things, if you don't have anything nice to say, the media is going to run with it, especially if you're Ross Chastain. So not talking to the media in that situation, I think was probably a pretty smart move for Ross Chastain. Let's see here. Duke Chronic Chastain left without any comment. Ricky, our sponsor, wants more airtime. Okay, I got this. Josh Berry, that's a good idea. Says like dislike. Josh Berry had a pretty decent scheme too. If you're into the gray and black and red, which I was always into that particular color scheme. I've asked you this before, BB. Do you enjoy Boyer in the booth? I don't have a problem with him. I think him and Kevin Harvick actually complement each other, but I know not everybody's on that boat. You're either going to like Clint Boyer or you're not. So if you don't like Clint Boyer, you probably suffered through today's race. If you like the pairing of him and Kevin Harvick, then today you probably liked what they brought to the table. But definitely I saw it both ways. I feel like I'm 50-50 with Boyer, funny guy, but sometimes it's annoying. Yeah, it's just when he chooses to be funny, like when there's some like actual exciting entertainment or action going on the track, and he decides to be funny, then that's when it's kind of like, come on, dude, just call what's going on in front of you. Like the color is good when you need color, but when there's actual action happening, just call the action. And I think as he matures as a broadcaster, I think he'll get there. Chase Elliott, bias a little, but I like the race. What happened to Texas doing another reconfiguration, though? We'll see. We'll see what happens. This race really made me not like overtime more, says Mickey Logano. BB, will you be celebrating Chase Elliott's win by going to Hooters and eating free fried pickles? I don't really have one near me, so maybe Tuesday I could. I'm kind of near one on a Tuesday, so maybe. But then I would have to convince everybody in the office to go with me. I don't know, man. I don't know. Probably not. It's just out of the way. Let's see. Just wish the race was shorter. Race time was extended by nearly 20 minutes. I haven't been to one in years, though. 20 minutes thanks to stage yellows. Yeah, that's another thing, too. So it just depends, man. Like, I just feel like the wrecks in the middle were really annoying, especially at the beginning and in the middle. They were really, really, they took the flow out of it. So that's part of it as well. But yeah, it's one of those deals. Off the turn, you get spun is usually on you, says Duke Chronic. Off the turn, you get spun is you usually. Says Duke Chronic. The best part is we don't have to suffer through another Texas race this year, says CJ Odell. So, yeah, Texas only having one date. He's a fan of that. Races should be shorter, if not for mandatory stage cautions, says Napa Race fan. I have a bigger problem with Fox's camera work than Clint Boyer, says I just wouldn't. That's probably where I'm at with it. I don't mind the booth. I think Fox does a good job. I think the one thing you can actually say about Fox is they actually do a decent job with the booth. I have more issues with the camera work and the camera direction. Mike Joy picked Briscoe, and could you say Jinx, says in between the lanes, camera work and graphics are terrible. The current Hendrick is a rebirth of old Hendrick. Larson is Jeff Gordon, the seasoned veteran. Byron is Jimmy Johnson, the new sheriff in town, and Dale Jr. is the people's champs. Alex and Casey jobs are not secure, says Bradley Wilder. Again, nothing against Boyer, says in between the lanes. Yeah, like I said, I think a lot of people can take him or leave. And as a Ross fan, I'm devastated. Almost broke through the Hendrick monopoly, but instead a 32nd place finish. Yeah, if you're a Ross fan, that's a tough one. Like Quattro, man, Quattro, he's bummed, man. He's gonna go down to Liberty and let him know what's up. He might film it. I'm just joking. He's not gonna do that. Robin Marks, appreciate you, man, with the super chat. There is the fist bump, my friend. I felt bad for Larson. Then I felt bad for Ross. I feel good for number 3 and the 8, but geez, forget Chase. Brad needs a win. He did his best. Man, Brad had the good strategy at the end. That caution really bit him. And then the subsequent cautions also bit him as well. But yeah, Brad, so close. Chase Elliott needed that win too, though. So I don't know. Either way, whoever won was kind of going to be a good story. Ross Chastain would have been a good story too. Denny Hamlin even would have been a good story just because that would have been something to talk about. So just because so many people dislike him. So that's always anybody that actually would have won that, it would have been a pretty solid story. Even William Byron, because it would have just continued the William Byron wins too much. That's why I don't like him campaign that some people are on right now. I'm done with overtime. I'm done with this Texas Motor Speedway. Make 1 and 2 normal again. Don't make it a super speedway, says Napa Racing fan. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with it. It really is. If they copy Atlanta, that's going to be a massive bummer. I'm going to be not happy about that. Just let Boyer do his tailgate segment, says in between lanes. I think that would be probably pretty good. Let's talk about a couple of the good things Fox did, though. Here are a couple of good things that Fox actually did, though. Showing the fans, celebrating when their drivers were doing well. I thought Fox actually did a good job there. So I don't want to just talk bad about something. So let's talk about some of the good things they did. And then they have the other things that we've already mentioned that they can improve on. The other thing that I really like that Fox has been doing, the crew chief the team introductions and stuff like that. I thought Trackhouse really knocked it out of the ballpark. I feel like they won team intros for a long time. And Duke Chronic down here. Duke Chronic saying the cameramen were doing their job, showing the ladies as well. So if you're into that, Duke Chronic says that Fox was on it as well as far as that goes. Let's see, BB, your opinion on the Denny Hamlin Ross Chastain incident? Says OJ and Toothpaste. I didn't see much there. If you're talking about Chase Elliott and Denny Hamlin, I didn't see much there. And also, if you're talking about William Byron and Ross Chastain, I didn't see much there either. So yeah, I didn't see really anything where anybody did anything necessarily on purpose. Let's see. TV missed like 4 cautions, says Duke Chronic, for sure. What's up, Shaw? Good to see you on here, my friend. Love how Elliott did press interviews and said he'd rather watch Weepers dry on an old track than the product on this track. Then he wins. Go figure. That's kind of the way it works. You remember when Kyle Busch was complaining about the COT, and then he wins the first race in the COT. Most of my drivers in fantasy practically didn't help me involved, and all of them were involved in cautions, says in between lanes. That's the way it goes sometimes. I did awesome on DraftKings. I got 8 out of my 10. I did head-to-heads mostly. And then I did which driver will finish first for their respective manufacturer. And the only two I missed were the ones that I took wild swings at, just in case something. Jimmy Johnson had such crazy odds. I was like, I got to put $1 on that. So stupid bets like that are the only ones that I missed on. But I did good on the old DraftKings today on the head-to-heads. Bill Spun says in between, yeah, Bill, he continues his feast or famine season. He either runs really good or ends up DNFing. Poor Denise, says Steve Van Keselowski is going to build some submarines before Talladega. Don't know what's worse, Ross losing all those positions or having to hear nothing but Hendrick for another week, says Dirty Death. Yes, like I said, Hendrick and Chevrolet, I don't know if they'll ever change this car, the way this car, the body of this car is running. Just call it the new Malibu. Change the nose on the Malibu to the current Camaro and keep running it or whatever they're going to do. Dude Chronic, I already read that one. Talking about showing the women in the crowd. Cam Spencer of UConn men's basketball looks like William Byron, says in between the lanes. Fox showed some good-looking women and not only kids, says Mark Barnum. Dude Chronic agreeing. C.L. Keller, hey y'all from North Idaho. What's up, Cassandra? What is up, North Idaho? No burnout for Elliott. Probably going to use that car again, possibly. I think he just did it because he wanted to honor Alan Kowicki. I think that's the whole reason he didn't do a burnout. He just wanted to do the Polish victory lap and make it all about Alan because, like I said, that's the most I've ever seen him talk about anything at one time, which was cool. I was glad that he came out of his shell and let us see some of his personality because I feel like he's got a ton of personality. He just doesn't. He's just an introvert. He's just really quiet and doesn't want to. He doesn't want to put everything. He doesn't want to put all of his business out there. Probably the best way to say it. Great job, brother. Keep it up, says Aaron Flynn. I appreciate you, my man. Hi, Cassandra, says Mark Barnum. In between the lanes, it's been so long. Elliott forgot how to do burnout, says Shaw. So here we go. For all the Chase Elliott fans, there are the non-Chase Elliott fans. I don't think many people like Mikey's pit walk. I actually think it's funny, says Jake McVeigh. Look, man, I feel like Michael Waltrip has his place in racing. Same thing with Rutledge Wood. And those segments are not going to be for everybody, but I do think there's enough people out there that enjoy them. I don't hate Michael Waltrip's pit walk. So letting Clint Boyer do a pit walk would be pretty cool. Or the tailgate or whatever. Head-to-head, I didn't choose Elliott. I chose Ryan Blaney. Oh, I chose Elliott. Like, I nailed it. I just, and honestly, it wasn't anything I picked. I just went by the numbers. I went by the head-to-head average finish numbers of the last 3 races, the same website, driveraverages.com, that we always go to. And I just picked by the numbers, all of them, and all of the ones that I picked today hit. So some of them I didn't participate in because they ranked them both as favorites. So I never bet in those situations because I don't know. I just feel like it's a scam. The whole thing's a scam, but you know, it is what it is. In between the lanes, true Napa Racing fan. Elliott also didn't have a ton of fuel left. They said he had enough fuel for one more overtime, which was the last one. Yeah, that would have been the craziest thing. Like, what if Chase Elliott had ran out of fuel? I talked about that, I think, in the Discord server. Like, dude, if Chase Elliott had ran out of fuel, you know how many people's heads would have exploded? It would have been right back to Alan Gustafson made a terrible call, blah, 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 blah. So that's how fickle it is as a crew chief. OJ and Toothpaste saying, BB, were you impressed with Jimmy Johnson today? If you're a fan of Earth 2, Jimmy Johnson came out and was crushing it. I was just joking. Chase is okay-ish. I said, Shaw, yeah, I got you, Shaw. I'm just picking. You know, I'm just picking, Shaw. Jimmy Johnson still helping Chase and Hendrick from the dark side. LOL got him track position from the spin. In between the lanes, it's a fantasy NASCAR on the NASCAR app that I do. Okay, I got you. I don't do the fantasy. I don't do any fantasy NASCAR anymore. I got out of it. I've got too much going on. I don't want to add another thing that I gotta like sort of feel committed to. So I stopped doing that. But the one I used back in the day when I played I did the Yahoo Fantasy NASCAR. So that was the one. That's the one I'm familiar with. I'm not super familiar with NASCAR's version. He just drives for HMS. That's the problem. LOL says, yeah, I can totally understand that. Like, Jimmy Johnson and probably Jeff Gordon probably ruined Hendrick Motorsports for everybody. They just won too much, and now Hendrick is this big, huge juggernaut. So it's part of what it is. I can hear you. Hello, Kyle. This is Danielle. What's up, Danielle? Good to see you. Yeah, was having some audio issues earlier. and wanted to make sure on the earlier stream, this stream, apparently it was picking up. So I appreciate you there. Who's the next to get their first win of the season? Bowman, Truex, or Gibbs, says Dirty Def? That's a good question. I feel like it's either going to be Truex or Gibbs. I feel like they're knocking on the door. That being said, Alex Bowman has always been streaky. So, like, Alex Bowman, he can have terrible races, and all of a sudden he gets on a heater, and he can win 2 or 3 in a row. So there's no telling. But I would say probably Truex or Gibbs there. I lean toward Truex because he's a veteran, but I feel like Ty Gibbs is going to break through. I will say this. I think all 3 of those guys will win this season, though, Dirty Def. Elliott ties Neil Bonnet and Davey Allison on the wins list at 19. Rest in peace to both, for sure. And it's kind of cool that Neil Bonnet and Davey Allison are tied at 19, so that they'll sort of always be linked in Alabama gang lore. Good race. Denny didn't win, and Joey finished somewhat good. If you're a non-Denny Hamlin fan, I guess that is a positive way to look at it. But yeah, Joey Logano sort of going under the radar. It doesn't get talked about like a whole lot. But Joey Logano is slowly pulling his season back together, and he's back to having good runs, pulling himself back up in there. The points have still not updated, so I can't tell you exactly how far he's pulled himself back up. Brad saying they have no speed as an owner is his fault. Yeah, he was. That was an interesting interview because he interviewed himself as a driver, then he interviewed himself as a team owner, so that was kind of cool too. CL Keller saying, what's up to Mark? The 5 was not happy. Jimmy was racing him so hard. Yeah, I talked about that on Discord. Jimmy Johnson was super slow today, and Kyle Larson at that moment in the race did not want to be held up. So he doored him, and Jimmy Johnson doored him back, and Kyle Larson doored him again, and then Kyle Larson set sail. Just wasn't a strong race for Jimmy Johnson. But I'll say this about Jimmy Johnson: what he's doing right now, even Kevin Harvick said it in the booth. What Jimmy Johnson is doing right now is a super hard thing to do with these particular cars. You can't just jump in these cars and be good. It's just a hard thing. You've got to have more repetitions and stuff like that. So what he's trying to accomplish, I do give him respect for that. But it's so hard. If he can pull off a top 10 in any of his finishes, my hat will be off to him. Speaking of hats off, Jamie Schweitzer says hats off to Austin Dillon for 7th place in Busch. His finish was impressive after starting last. Yeah, so RCR, for all the grief they've gotten so far this season, and for somewhat of the bad luck and the bad start they've had, they are. This was definitely a much needed good finish for both cars, and hopefully they can swing that momentum forward and keep it going. How about Ty Dillon? Good finish for him, says Shaw. Yeah, he had some good strategy. Where did he end up finishing? I know I went through this earlier, but Ty Dillon with a 16th place in the 16 car. So good finish for him. So definitely he was another guy that needed a good finish like that because he's another guy that people just typically do not they don't give him any slack. They like to give him grief. He's just one of those guys they like to give grief to. So he got a good finish. So good momentum for him. This was Chase's 19th win. Also says Duke Chronic. Napa Race fan saying yes. Can't stay for the stream tonight. Later, y'all. Thanks for hanging out, Mark Barnum. Always good to have you in here. Jake McVeigh saying, if you stay out after a caution, don't you get to take the wave around to make up a lap? I don't understand why Larson wasn't allowed, or did I miss something because of the tire coming off? Well, he had to pit. And there's something about, what is it? If you cause the caution, I don't know. Anyway, he ended up getting back on the lead lap, but I don't know all of the logistics for it. But I don't know. The only thing I can really say about that is somebody brought up the point that Ty Gibbs drove out there with the tire with the lug nut gun still on the car, and how come that's not the same penalty as a tire coming off? That I can't answer you. That's a NASCAR question. But that's the only real controversy I can see from that. But yeah, the wheel came off. You got to serve the 2-lap penalty. I think the 2-lap penalty is a bit excessive for the wheel coming off because your wheel came off in a race. That's going to be penalty enough. But NASCAR doesn't need to add to it. And they can scream safety all they want to. They do so many contradictory things to safety all the time that I don't want to hear that. So will Jimmy Johnson win a race this year? Absolutely not. Totally. I'm 100%. I wish that was a prop bet I could make. Late, but I made it, says one wise guy. Appreciate you being on here, wise guy, as always. It was funny. Brad said, I don't concede to third. Yeah, I mean, that's what you got in with Ross. Can you recap that for me, please? So yeah, Ross got in there hot, and he had to lift coming off. And because he had to lift a little bit, William Byron didn't have a whole lot of time to react. The closing rate was so fast. So to me, I feel like it was just a racing incident. I think when Ross sees the replay of it, I don't think he'll think that, oh, William Byron wrecked me, because I don't think William Byron's that type of guy anyway. I've never seen William Byron pay somebody back other than the time Chad Knaus told him he needs to go pay back Kyle Busch, and Chad Knaus tore up his own car. William Byron was a rookie. So I don't think, or maybe he was his second year, but it was one or the other. But either way, I don't see William Byron being that type of driver. So I don't see that being the case. But also, maybe the one time with Joey Logano, maybe at Darlington. But other than that, I can't recall any other time where William Byron has done something like that. So I don't think it was anything William Byron did on purpose. I just think it was a racing incident. So that's the way I saw it. But it depends on who you pull for as to how you saw it. So I'm open to how anybody else might have saw it. Shouldn't Gibbs have gotten equipment for leaving his pit stall penalty? He did get that, but that's what I'm saying. Like, that's not a 2-lap penalty, but losing a wheel is. So it's NASCAR. It's their rules, but they're kind of, I don't know. It is what it is. I've been adamant about the tire rules being a little ridiculous for a while, and that's another one that's a little bit ridiculous. I forgot which of Hendrick. I forgot which B of Hendrick that finished way back. Byron. Always mix up the two. Bowman is the one that got the lesser finish today because he got he was in, who wrecked? Somebody wrecked in front of him and he got into it. I was questioning the lug socket stuck to the nut thing. Seems more dangerous if it flies off at speed. Says shot. Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. It's a fair point. Like, why is one a 2-lap penalty and why is one not a 2-lap penalty? I mean, yeah, I think. It was your comment in Discord. I got you. Yeah, that's what I was bringing up. Why is one a 2-lap penalty and why is another one not a 2-lap penalty? If it's all about safety and something flying off the car. So yeah, that's the exact point I was trying to make. I didn't illustrate it as eloquently as you did, my friend. Domino's and Febreze commercial, no worries, says Jamie Spicer. It's not giving me the option to block the commercials anymore. So apologies. Byron wrecked Denny under caution, says Bradley Wilder. Oh, okay. So I didn't see that. I'll have to check that. I'll have to check that out. I missed that. How far into the season before Ford visits Victory Lane? Oh, I don't know. They were close to Texas. The tires are still too hard, and it was a track position race. Pretty much exactly what I expected. I guess the biggest takeaway is people will get off Alan Gustafson's butt now. Because he won a race, so that'll buy him another 2 weeks of peace and quiet before people are back on the fire Alan Gustafson train. Jeff reported that Ross politely turned down a post-race interview after coming out of the infield care center. Can't blame him. What's there to say? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, anything he said would have gotten blown out of proportion. He learned that with the Denny Hamlin thing, so I thought that was probably the best move there. I don't like the single lug for sure. How is it stock car racing when street cars have 5 lugs on average, says Chrome Diesel? It's a fair point. If you want to check out the merch store is right there. One wise guy dropped the link. Appreciate you, my man. And if you want to join the Discord server, it is right there as well. He has also dropped that. Bowman wrecked himself, and Nemechek got caught in it. Okay, so Bowman wrecked himself. So there was a moment in this race where I just was like up getting food and eating. So that's what happened. So Bowman did wreck himself. Chrome Diesel, totally agree, says Shaw. BB, do you see Chastain possibly wrecking the 24 car in the future? Nope, I don't think that'll happen. Byron wrecked Denny under caution last year, not today. So that's I got what you're saying now. I wasn't picking it up. I didn't think it was like a retaliation thing today. I've seen Bubba finished pretty good tonight, says Jamie Schweitzer. Yeah, he was. Let's see here. Yeah, he ended up 7th place, and his teammate there, Tyler Reddick, finished 4th. So good run for 23-11. They both got top 10s as well. Let's see. Bubba could win next week. Yeah, he's really good at super speedways, and he actually had good numbers, I want to say, if I'm not mistaken. But he's definitely super speedways and short tracks are his MO. But I think he did actually have decent numbers for Texas as well in the last 3 races, like I do on Driver Average. I thought it was a pretty good race, says Jonathan. Yeah, I think a lot of people think it was a good race. The only reason I didn't like it is because of all the cautions at the beginning, but I think he got a good finish for sure. Denny Hamlin would probably have 3 championships. if Gustafson was his crew chief. Guy is literally a Hall of Famer, says Cody Ledger. Yeah, like I don't know about 3, but I feel like Alan Gustafson is definitely going to be a Hall of Fame crew chief, no doubt about it. BB, what do you eat for race day snacks? I mean, like my favorite race day snack of all time would have to be chicken wings. I mean, wings, pizza, and beer. That's kind of the regular old go-to. But those I'm too old to be eating that stuff all the time. So I don't know. I like potato chips. That's pretty, like, as far as snacks go, that's a pretty good one. Nothing extravagant, really. NASCAR tested the next gen with 5 lug variants on the current Ren. Might as well go back to single wheel and discourse of the wheel. Loose is all gone. Says Chrome Diesel. OJ on Earth 2, can Texas be 3 miles long? 90-degree banking. I'll tell you this, with this particular car, it does like more banking. So the more banking, the better. The wheel is too big and the tires too wide. I agree with that. The one nut is not working. When will NASCAR fix it? Yeah, we've had more tires come off this year than they ever have before. So I do feel like, regardless of, it's fastened better with one lug. I don't care what the argument is. We've had more tires come off this year than we ever have before. So if you're really all about safety, let's put 5 lug nuts back on it. They like drama and irritating us, says Shaw. That's why we won't get the 5 lugs back. Cautions breed cautions, says in between the lanes. I'd love if Bubba made the top 8. While Hamlin doesn't. Never been a Denny fan, says Jamie Schweitzer. So yeah, outrunning the boss. That would sort of be that would bring sort of a Stone Cold versus the owner of the WWE at the time dynamic to it. Let's see, BB Jack in the Box tacos or Carl Jr.'s taco salad. That's a tough call there. I'll go Jack in the Box on that one. Because Carl's Jr. They're just better for burgers. Let's see if the points came out here yet. Wise guy, not sure if they have or not. It's loading. Oh, we got something. We do have points. Kyle Larson maintains the point lead over Martin Truex Jr. by 17. Denny Hamlin is next there at -28. Chase Elliott is 4th now at -32. -38 is William Byron. Ty Gibbs coming in at 6th as it currently stands at -55. Ryan Blaney is in 7th. Tyler Reddick is in 8th. Bubba Wallace, his teammate, is in 9th. Christopher Bell is in 10th. Ross Chastain is 11th. He dropped 3 spots because of that wreck, and Ryan Blaney dropped 2 spots because of his wreck. And Chase Elliott with a win actually hops 1 spot over William Byron. Chase Briscoe here at 12th maintains position. Chris Buescher is in 13th. Alex Bowman 14th. Joey Logano is into the top 16 now with this finish today, so good for him. And Kyle Busch in the top 16 as well. I can't remember if he was in or out last race. So let's see here. So he lost 1 spot, and I want to say Joey Logano lost 1 spot too. So Joey Logano was in last week as well. But your guys on the outside looking in. Brad Keselowski, the first driver out as it stands right now. Daniel Suarez, even though he's in, so technically Kyle Busch is out right now, and Daniel Suarez would be in with his win. So technically Kyle Busch is the first man on the outside looking in, because Suarez still way through. Let's see. Where's Austin Dillon with his top 10 moves up 3 spots in front of Corey LaJoie. He is now in 28th. So there you go. There is Austin Dillon watch. But yeah, let's see who. As far as the guys that have run all the races, 35th place. Zane Smith is last place of all the guys that have in discourse of the wheel is loose. All gone since that conversation would be gone for sure. Since 2022, we've had like 40 times the wheels get disconnected from the car. I agree. Safety issue. Go back to 5 lug nuts. 100%. I'm 100% with you on that. Points as they run at the end of the race showed Logano tied with Busch. Oh, are they tied? Let's see if they're actually tied points wise, because I didn't look at that. They're saying Yep, they are tied at -118 apiece. So they are technically tied as it is right there. So either Joey Logano or Kyle Busch would be out because Daniel Suarez, of course, won the race as it stands now. Of course, a lot of season to go, but always fun to keep track of the points. BB, how's Jimmy Johnson doing in points? I don't think – let's see. He's back there, though. I did just see him. Is he getting points? Is he declared for points? He is minus 318 in 37th place, tied with David Reagan, but only about 60 points behind Zane Smith, though. So he can still catch Zane Smith. 5 lugs. I missed one. Okay, no problem. 1 lug. I missed it. Oh no, crap! The whole wheel's coming off. Let's see. I don't pay attention to regular points anymore. They don't matter. Wins should mean more. 3 wins should be ahead of 1 win in points, says Bradley Wilder. So did RCR get lucky today? Was it skill or both? They had, look, their crew chiefs did their job. They backtracked the race from where they needed to backtrack the race, and that's part of it. And their drivers didn't wreck. So a lot of cars that had a lot of teams that had fast cars, their drivers either caused the wreck themselves or got caught up in somebody else's wreck. So both drivers did their job, and that's all you can do. So it was a track position strategy race, and that, I'll be honest with you, that actually lines up with RFK and RCR. Both of those companies are really good at those type of races, and that's when you see them get good finishes. The exception being at short tracks, RCR has struggled this year. So even when it's a strategy track position type race like Martinsville, RCR just hasn't had the speed, unfortunately. Did you say Daniel Suarez won the race? I thought it was Chase Elliott. He has won a race this season. So in the points, he would be in the 16. Chase Elliott won the race today. I was talking about the points. Daniel Suarez has won a race this season, so he is in the 16 and would bump out the current 16th place person in points. That's what I was talking about. Jamie Schweitzer. Chase won, says one wise guy. Running second was a curse today, says Bradley Wilder. Tech is complete. Elliott is the winner, says Chrome Diesel. So there you go. That looks like the last comment on the stream. So I'm going to jump off, and I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Till then, peace.